Allow me to set the stage for you. The year is 2011. YouTuber is still a word foreign to most people. Middle schoolers knew the lyrics to Party Rock Anthem off by heart, and all over the world, fans of the classic game series Spyro the Dragon were about to get very, very mad. A small company called Toys for Bob was full of these geeks who they loved video games. They loved video games so much. In fact, that love of video and tabletop games is what cobbled together a funny little prototype. Made by employees Robert Leyland with figures designed by Yue Huang. There was a base, of course, then a fun figure that was embedded with RFID, that's radio frequency identification chips. The base could recognize what figure was on it. It was genius. Activision and Toys for Bob wanted to create a revolutionary... No, this was before that. Before that, too. Uh-oh. Yeah, quick aside, I was obsessed with UB Funkies as a kid. These were the original Toys to Life gang. Study up. Well, there might have been ones before, but listen, these were the ones I knew. I'm claiming boomer. Whatever. Was for PC anyways. These were for consoles. A revolutionary crossover between digital and real that many people would be experiencing for the first time. If you weren't a nerdy shut-in with UB Funkies to replace friends, that is. So things were shaping up to be pretty good for both Activision and Toys for Bob. With a pretty solid design philosophy and a brand new gimmick, the series was just about ready to fly off the shelves, ready to be recognized as a cash cow that future adults everywhere would look back on and go, huh. Unfortunately, there was a problem. A purple, scaly problem. Activision had merged with company Vivendi. They got a bunch of old game franchises like the sad remains of a child's trick-or-treat bucket. Having said that, Activision chucked this bucket of treats in Toys for Bob's face. Activision, being the lovely faceless corporation that it was, feared new things and also failure. So they thought it best that rather than launch an entirely new IP, Toys for Bob was invited to pick any of the leftover candy in their property bucket. The company picked a series about a dragon that had some fun games in the 90s, but had a few sequels that came with mixed reviews. Wow, perfect! This series is super dead! This totally won't maul our new series' reputation in the gaming world forever! Actually, Paul Ricci from Toys for Bob credits Spyro for much of the series' success. Yeah, contrary to what angry gamer bros would have you believe, Spyro seemed to have helped the series, somehow? I don't really see it. I mean, Spyro wasn't really set apart from the others until the 6th game, so he doesn't really have a personality to speak of, and wouldn't kids these days not really know Spyro? Who's buying this stuff? The people who grew up with Spyro? They're already mad at you! Who said he'd improve the series? My head hurts already. I'm getting ahead of myself here. My point is that Spyro fans weren't happy with the capture of their beloved dragon, and many other gaming veterans either agreed or passed on Skylanders because it wasn't in their level of interest. This leaves Skylanders' entire fanbase as pretty much, well, small children, mostly young boys. No offense to you young kids, you rock. But you gotta admit, doesn't it ever get a bit lonely being the only focus group here? I mean, the Among Us kids over there have people from Senate playing their game. Do you have people from the Senate playing your game? Never mind, don't answer that. Though, I meant that more to me and the other adult Skylanders fans. Mostly me, actually, because the exile the gaming community gave to Skylanders really left serious discussions about this quality of this game out to dry. But surprisingly enough, there are more Skylanders fans out there. They call themselves Skytubers, which I think that's pretty cute, not gonna lie. And they're still making videos about the series, even today, in 2021. And they have like thousands of subscribers. That's amazing! That's why today, dear viewers, I want to take you on a journey. A journey so I can show you that Skylanders does have a little charm to it. So our Skylanders story takes us across 6 games, each of them pretty different feeling. Well, almost. Between you and me, Giants is just the Super Mario Galaxy 2 of this franchise. You begin with a simple starter pack. The game, a portal, and a few Skylanders to get you started. The games are all action-adventure games, where the main focus is walking through a level and beating up some bad guys as you solve puzzles along the way. There's even some treasures you can find. Oh, glorious day. Most of the fun comes from the fact that every Skylander has their own unique moveset that you really get to bring out to its fullest every time you enter a gathering of Goonies. With Skylanders belonging to 8 cool elemental groups. The choice is yours to make on what style of fighting you go for. Unless that Skylander is ugly, in which case they are banished from the portal, never to be seen again. Interestingly, the Skylanders fans I've talked to can't really decide the quality of the games. I've seen every single game on this list on every spot in the top 6 list. One of them has been called a masterpiece, one of them has been called a disgrace. This was the end of the Skylanders series. No this, I think you're wrong, I think I'm right. It's madness, nothing makes sense anymore. I've been watching so many top 6 lists that my brain has become fried. Or, you know what? Let's go to the first game. Skylanders... Spyro's Adventure. It's not even his adventure! Not once is Spyro highlighted in this game. You know what? Bad start. So you're a Toys to Life game. How do you make a story that justifies being you? Once upon a time in the non-specific fantasy land of Skylands, there were these guys, the Skylanders. Oh, these guys, they were some really great guys, I tell you. There's Kill Guy, Gun Guy, Girl Guy, and Gamer Rage Guy. There's also this old guy, Eon. He's basically just the guy who shows up and dumps the exposition. And you know what? Good for him. Everything's peaceful in Skylands until one day this little bald guy, yep, right there, that's him, decides, no, screw that, I want to take over. So he pulls a nasty trick and banishes the Skylanders all the way to Earth, and also turned them into marketable figures. He also overpriced them because he's just that evil, I guess. We now have agency in the game. Well done, everyone. The Portal Master. Hi, that's you and me. See, we get an exciting title now. Isn't that great? We're part of the crew. We have to put the Skylanders on the Portal of Power, because that's how we get them back into the game to protect the MacGuffin. I mean, the core of light from the little bald guy. His name is Chaos, by the way, if you've never been formally introduced. He's like Invader Zim's human Sona. And I mean that literally. Anyways, he's going to be the big bad for the rest of the series, so depending on how much you like him, the rest of this video is either going to be a riot or a headache. Me personally, I can't get enough of the guy, and I wish to give whoever decided we need, meanwhile, back at the Legion of Doom, cutscenes for him a nice kiss on the cheek. So that's the download. Find thingies, stop bad guy, be hero, send bad guy to Earth to be tormented by dog. The first game is pretty unremarkable, all things considered. After all, it's a first foray, so really, it spent all its time kind of establishing the atmosphere of the world and the characters and the lore. Can I call it lore? Am I allowed to do that? Still, there's some cool stuff in here, like a crypt. There's a crypt. Go in the crypt, great. Okay, look, I'm sorry. I know this is supposed to be a fun romp into a series you've never heard of before, but I haven't played Spyro's Adventure in like 5 years. I promise I'll get more excited soon. Let's see, something interesting. Oh, did you know that Skylanders' main theme is composed by Hans Zimmer? He only did work on the main theme, but like, hey, Hans Zimmer. Oh, the toys. I should probably talk about the toys. Now, as the original line, unfortunately, the first few Skylanders aren't going to be as grand or cool as the later big gimmick Skylanders, but some are pretty cool. Like Camo, he's a plant dragon. And Hex, the goth girl literally everyone has a crush on at some point. And there's even a guy who's like some cursed armor. How cool is that? Of course, there was still the problem of Spyro looking special. And some, interesting design choices. Okay, look, every series has its stinkers. Even Pokemon has its Stantlers and its Cryogonals. The original Skylanders game was a big hit. Understandably so, as it was the first of its kind on the console market. Kids loved it, parents spent money in it. It was great. Me personally, my Skylanders craze story is how our entire family drove over the border to the United States because we needed to get Whamshell, the last one in our collection. Heck, my little brother was so obsessed that he even got those variants that don't change anything in the game cosmetically. He was down bad. And if you think that was crazy, pretty much a year later, the insanity only increased. Skylanders Giants hit store shelves, and like the flying monkeys upon Oz, children and families lined up for miles in front of Toys R Us to get their brand new starter packs. No exaggeration either. Again, my own story from my childhood is that we drove to the plaza 30 minutes before opening, thinking that we could outsmart the people, only to see that there was a huge line already. You'll be happy to know that we went to Best Buy that nobody had in it and got like 3 Giants. So choke on that line from 2012. The good news about Giants is that it has gimmicks to work off now, meaning essentially each game has its own central theme, so that's kinda neat. This game, of course, ties into the Giants, which are, you guessed it, giant Skylanders, coming from the past of Skylands. Alright, I'm getting real geared up now, cause get this. Skylands in the past didn't have cavemen, or high elves, or ancient Vikings, or anything fantasy like that. They had robots. Meet the Archeans. These monoliths of red and gold were the robot overlords of Skylands and kept its people under an iron rule. God, I'm sorry I shouldn't be geeking out this quick, but robots, guys, robots! Robots in a fantasy game! Robots in the past! This is so cool! Oh, but also in the past were the Giants. Hence, the two gimmicks come together. The Giants fought against the Archeans because enslaving people is kinda mean. They removed the king's source of power, the Iron Fist of Arcus, which came before the Infinity Gauntlet, you prudes. Except, no it didn't. The gauntlet first appeared in 1990. Whoops. Unfortunately for both the Giants and the Archeans, the Unfisting. Okay, nope, gonna choose a better name for that. The removal of the fist caused the Archeans to shut down and the Giants to get sent far away from Earth. Yeah, what a coincidence, right? Meanwhile, on Earth in the present, hey look, it's our little bald guy again! In a toy store, no less! What a funny way to keep continuity. Anyways, he gets the heck out of Dodge and accidentally reactivates one of the old Archeans, the Conkertron! And he is just as on the nose as the name suggests. Listen, this game has fun villains, not nuanced ones. So, it's pretty much a race to stop Chaos from getting into the lost city of Arcus to find the Iron Fist. And also Giants are here now. Cool. One other thing I should mention is that you do have some NPC friends that, if I'm being honest, they're sort of protag stand-ins. Okay, there's this guy Flynn who's a pilot and his entire personality is being Patrick Warburton. No offense, King, love you lots, but that's the way it is. There's also Callie, sorry, they replaced the main female lead sometimes. Anyways, for now we have Callie. She helps the Skylanders train and stuff, and hey, bonus point for the games never setting up Flynn and Callie. I know they wanted to. Also, there's Hugo, who is kinda just a huge dork with no fighting skill whatsoever, but I love him all the same. I say Flynn's kind of the protag stand-in because every time we start a level, we're opened by Flynn because, well, there's so many Skylanders, each with a different personality, that programming intros for all these levels would be exhausting, to say the least. Still, it makes for a pretty funny in-between. I bet in another universe, Flynn just is the protagonist. And hey, what do you know? I actually have stuff to say about the levels this time. Wow! Okay, so first of all, there's like this village you arrive on because Flynn's ship crashed, and everything looks totally abandoned with these freaky wooden dolls just kind of lying on the floor chilling. But then you press this cool globe in the middle of the city, and everything comes alive. It wakes up. It's all colorful. And then there are these like kind of creepy, well-meaning wooden people, and they're called the Willikin. And the level is based off like the two worlds you switch between, and it's super cool. And then you find out at the end of the level that Chaos made them, and it's like, what? And there's this level where there's a singing robot, this giant singing robot who sings about how much he wants to drill into the lost city of Arcus. I mean, what more could you want? And also, there's a level with this cool oracle guy, and you get to pick what kind of level you traverse through based on how you answer his questions. And he's the only character in the series to call your Skylander by name. My man. And this isn't really a level, but Chaos is a giant robot now. And there's a ghost who's your friend who's also a robot. And now it's a robot fight. Yep. As for the toy department, things get even better. We have two of the regular guys who become series favorites. There's Jetvac, a vacuuming eagle, and Pop Fizz, a guy who goes beast mode when he has the right potions. Also this guy. He's a mushroom. He's not really important, but I like him a lot. But the main event here is definitely the Giants. They're all pretty cool looking. T-Rex is like a huge bark guy. Swarm is this cool giant bee with stinger weapons. Bouncer is like this awesome jock robot with finger guns. And Eyebrawl, oh my god, look at this guy. They made a small version of him later. His name is I Small, I Am Going to Explode. But yeah, my review, good toys. And as it turns out, Giants probably tipped the XX off that kids like big toys, because pretty much every new gimmick Skylanders series got a bit of an increase in size compared to the poor flimsy core Skylanders. So Skylanders had 2 games under their belt now, which means it was time to shake things up. "2013, the year of Luigi. And also, the year things got a little upside-downsies at Skylands. Hi, welcome to Skylanders Swap Force. You may notice that everything is different. So, this game's leading developers was company Vicarious Visions. Hey, quick fun fact. Both Toys for Bob and Vicarious Visions were involved in the modern Crash games. Isn't that neat? The graphics of Swap Force are really something else compared to the first 2 games. And though that's most likely thanks to the hardware upgrades with the Xbox One and PS4, I've always tended to prefer Vicarious Visions' style of Skylanders games, especially those nice graphics. Though I really can't excuse their sheep and chompy designs. Seriously, who approved this? The story is kinda also affected by this. It's another, oh my god, who gave our little bald guy this shiny new toy, I thought you guys learned not to by now story, but it takes place in an entirely new locale. Everyone's favorite animal of indeterminate species, Flynn, goes on vacation to a new, strange place called the Cloudbreak Islands, where the signature creatures Mabu are replaced with animal people of all sorts. There's hippos, a dog elder, and the chompies are instead replaced with greebles. Which is really fun to say. Greeble, greeble, greeble. Also, once again, our gimmick ties into the story. So, like, a crazy long time ago, but probably after the Giants, these 4 guys called the Elementals go to this volcano to do a thing that replaces the magic in Skylands. Then some hooded guy who's like totally not anyone's mom goes, oh cool, but what if I tried to sabotage that instead? And then another group of Skylanders goes to stop them. Unfortunately, they get caught in the blast and get sent to Earth. I'm sensing a pattern, but they also get cool new swap magic. Now they can swap torsos and legs. And look, they're all guys, so it's not awkward. These guys really do think of everything. Anyways, it's about time that those wacky elementals do their funny volcano dance again, and society's vermin, nature's mistake, the little bald guy, catches word of this and wants to pull another evil trick. This time, his new toy is something called Petrified Darkness, which turns people into like black and pink Hot Topic crystal versions of themselves. It's called evilizing, I guess, but gunching rolls off the tongue better. Anyways, I think gunching looks cool and black and pink should really be used as evil colors more often. Also, Chaos's mom shows up and she's totally not Maleficent. Trust me. The live-action movie Maleficent came out in 2014 and this game came out in... Damn it. So, the heroes gotta stop the great gunching of 2013. Great. Flynn also has a new female companion named Tessa. Tessa's better than Callie. They also tried to make a counterpart to Hugo, but he's annoying and I hate him. Moving on. I enjoyed the levels quite a lot here too. There's this place where you have to cross through a giant snowball fight, a forest that's in the middle of being set on fire, a kind of bayou type place where the fish elemental is hidden, a ghost town, and what's actually my favorite level in all of Skylands, Rampant Ruins. Seriously, dude, look at this. The atmosphere? Dude, it's an Archean graveyard! Isn't that so cool? Like the robots were in the past, and now they're in the graveyard? Sorry for geeking out over Archeans all the time, but I love them a lot, and like you're kinda always closing in on the boss of that level, so I think that's like a really cool build-off and payoff. Oh, and the music! Something I also want to mention is that I actually remember most of the boss fights, which is new. Well, I don't actually remember if... I think Giants had some boss fights. See, me going off script trying to remember if Giants had boss fights or not, that's just kind of indicative of itself. I think there's more of a focus on boss fights in general. There's this really cool one with this puppeteer lady, voiced by Grey Delisle. There's this fire viper. There's Chaos's troll butler. Oh my god, I forgot to mention he had a troll butler. Pack it up, everybody. We have to reshoot the entire essay. My point being, boss fights. They're a thing now. And that's pretty neat. You know what else is pretty neat? Honestly, I think I like the Giants more still. Okay, no. The Swap Force actually has, like, a really impressive gimmick. I mean, back in 2008, it was already witchcraft just getting different figures to be recognized in a portal. And now we can mix and match halves? Awesome! I think the Swap Force kinda has more misses than the Giants, but there was a lot less Giants, so I'll excuse it. Some swappers I really like Spyro is this cool spy spider guy, Magnacharge is this super awesome robot dude who can go really fast, Rattleshake, a snake who shoots snakes, Night Shift, a boxing vampire, Stink Bomb, a skunk like ninja dude, Fire Kraken, like a fire dancer, dragon dude. There's so many others. And some I'm pretty sure were just kind of made, like, because the butts would be cool. Another Skylanders story of my past. I would always play as Magnacharge, because, you know, he's cool. But my sister always stole his butt because she wanted to go fast. The moral? Never trust your siblings, ever. So, with the best graphics, reviews, and gimmick yet, would you be right in assuming the series had peaked? Yes. Would you also be right in assuming this is where things start slowly falling? Also yes. Meet Skylanders Trap Team. As far as things go, she's a bit messy, but she's got heart. Trap Team's always been a weird one to me. Being developed primarily by Toys for Bob again, you could really tell that the series was being yanked right back on course. No more Cloud Break, Callie was back in the female lead spot, and best of all, no weird chompies. However, both companies had their strengths and weaknesses, and I think after seeing what Swap Force could do, I kinda started to realize Toys for Bob's. Not that Trap Team is a bad game by any means, but guys, almost every level has an NPC that is just a Mabu in a different hat. Has nobody noticed this? I'm gonna go insane. Why don't more people talk about this? The other games had NPCs who were different, but Trap Team is just Mabus in hats. Always has been. Ugh. Okay, craze rant aside, time for me to really explain what's going on here. So, a crazy long time ago, but not before Swap Force and Giants, there were these uber bad guys called the Doom Raiders who lived by the philosophy of girls just want to have fun. So they caused chaos across Skylands. Until they didn't because they were locked up. years later, our little bald guy has decided to start his own vlog channel. Proud of him. He also blows up the prison and sends yet another team of Skylanders to Earth. Yippee-ki-yay. This time, they were the Trap Masters. Not really special because they're big or because they swap, but because they're really good at wielding weapons made of stuff called Traptanium, which is totally before Vibranium before you ask. I really need to keep my mouth shut. Anyways, Traptanium is this crystal material that catches villains so good. We clear? Good. This brings us to our second gimmick. There's like a bunch of villains running rampant in Skylands now, so you gotta trap them and make you join your team. Now here's where we gotta do a bit of a pit stop on the plot, because I need to show you what the traps look like. Ta-da! It's plastic! The entire reason kids buy this stuff is to see cool real-life figures in real life, and that's missing. Now, the Trap Masters are still here, and that's fine and dandy, but frankly, having to buy these tiny pieces of plastic was the beginning of the end. Also, any avid Skylander hunter / target goer in 2014 really should be familiar with the phenomenon called, oh god, oh my god, oh god, this entire shelf is full of water traps. Now with that grim visage in your mind, back to the plot. There may be villains everywhere, but the most important ones are the Doom Raiders, of course. Led by the fierce Golden Queen, the group includes Wolfgang, a rock and roll werewolf, Dr. Crankcase, a spider-like mad doctor, Chompy Mage, a mage with a chompy hand puppet, Chef Pepperjack, a chef guy who's a pepper. Does he ever cook himself by accident? Dreamcatcher, a floating head who's also a teenage girl, the Gulper, a guy they didn't make interesting because they knew he'd be caught on the first level, and also these two. But only if you pay for DLC. Golden Queen wants to make a weapon that's so ultimate. An ultimate weapon, if you will, to rule Skylands with. And all the Doom Raiders go across Skylands causing trouble and completing the grocery list of materials needed for the ultimate weapon. Of course, Chaos is here too at first, but he has a bit of a Joker moment where they kick him out for being a little horrid stink man, and he has to go ally with the good guys. Good for him. But not really, since this is very begrudging. Predictably, there's lots of double crossing with the villains, like how Wolfgang goes to the future because he decides to be cool instead of listening to orders, and how Chaos double crosses the good guys at the very end because of course we can't have a Skylanders game without having Chaos as a final boss, duh! Really, we can, and I think the fans have asked for that for a while. I'm a Chaos apologist, and I know this. He becomes purple and breaks the fourth wall for a little, which was kinda cool. And then he becomes like Sephiroth, I don't know. Game over, put Chaos in a plastic shaped like him, your mom's calling you for dinner, character time. The Trap Masters had these super cool weapons, I'll give them that. And the creativity showcased in them is amazing. This guy Snapshot has a bow and arrow, of course. But then we have wild combos like this little shortcut guy having scissors, giant scissors. And this guy has fists. And Gearshift is a giant gear. But also, what is this Thunderbolt guy's deal? And why does Blastermind look like a purple Chaos? Which isn't really a complaint, but also Chaos turns purple in the game at one point, so maybe Blastermind is the real villain? Oh my god. Anyways, putting traitorous Blastermind aside, the game had good Skylanders, no doubt, and the Doom Raiders are full of personality too. I'd like to highlight Dr. Crankcase and Wolfgang in particular for just having some super fun boss dialogue.
Hey! I just realized what this party needs! Barrels! yes! There's no Chaos, no Doom Raiders, and you can get pizza here in 30 seconds or less! Let's just fight instead!
They deserve their spots as fan favorites for sure. There's one or two NPCs that the game introduces that aren't bad too. Grandpa Buzz says Secret Ninja Commando a little too many times for it to be funny, but Max has stolen my heart with no hope of returning it. So, let's reestablish the facts. Fourth game of the series, with the third game already being established as the peak, surely the fifth game will be a descent in quality too. Well, yeah, for the most part. I mean, but then the strangest thing happened. Okay, well, actually, the gimmick is vehicle segments, and the controls there are kind of garbage, so you're kind of right, but the weird thing about 2015's Skylanders SuperChargers is the story. I really liked the story. Vicarious visions back at the wheel, no pun intended, our story starts in a very peculiar way. The little bald guy that receives mixed reviews mocks the usual starting spiel, then telling you, the player, that it's game over. He's locked up all your friends, he's invented a machine that'll destroy Skylands for sure, and now he's going to cut off all the portals. And then he does! It's only until Hugo communicates with you from within his cell that you start to see things play out. Chaos has seriously taken things up to 11. He's the closest to his goal he's ever been. After some fun vehicle segments, you free Eon from the land of the undead. And then you spend most of your game doing your usual grocery list collecting. It's back with the villains that interest me the most, not gonna lie. See, this time, Chaos's big new toy is the darkness itself, which, if I had been giving you a proper summary, sorry about that by the way, you guys would know that it is the kind of metaphorical presence that plagues Skylands if the heroes aren't around to stop it. Not hard to understand. In fact, Chaos has kinda sorta got enough magic from Skylands that the darkness now has, like, a voice, which is pretty neat. Except no, it's not, because all the darkness wants to do is destroy Skylands and rule all the words in the universe. Okay, so like Chaos's troll butler, oh my god, I really need to stop forgetting to mention him, he's kinda important this time. Okay, he has a name, Glumshanks is his name, he's actually one of my favorite characters, why do I keep forgetting to mention him? Okay. So Glumshanks points out that if Skylands is destroyed, that there won't be any Skylands to rule, which is what Chaos has wanted the whole time, right? But the darkness is like, nah, and then convinces Chaos to fire him. So then, back with the heroes, Tez's pet bird finds Glumshanks and drops him off, and he wants to work with the good guys, because he's a little worried about the little bald man. I mean, across the series it's kind of implied that Glumshanks isn't into evil as Chaos is, so I guess it makes sense that this would happen. And he's actually pretty polite to the gang, all things considered, and he even gives him this horrid little Bobo doll thing of Chaos. I want to unsee that. But anyways, it's like this really interesting position to be in now. We kind of sympathize for this guy since he's been like the butt monkey this whole series. I mean, of this video essay too, considering I keep forgetting to mention him. Sorry, King. So now we have a bigger reason to want to help Chaos. We also have a bigger bad. See, this is how you keep a staple villain in without making them be the final boss every time. You make a newer villain and then you keep it that way. Anyways, there's some more grocery list stuff, and a few I want to mention is the section of a library level, which is just so creative. You play as a Skylander, yes, but the chapter takes place inside a book. And the narrator telling the story of the darkness and the ancients really sells this part in my opinion. I really feel like the darkness is a formidable—
A great and terrible shadow erupted from the keep. It bellowed in a deep and malevolent voice. Behold, Skylands, I have returned. All shall fear and obey me. I am the darkness.
So after all that, Chaos actually comes to the hub world and nearly destroys the MacGuffin. And it's like, oh dang! Until Glumshanks actually sacrifices himself for the gang, and it's like totally unexpected, and I was sitting there thinking, is a kid's game really about to make me feel emotions? It's probably because I'm a big sap, but I digress. It was the most I had ever felt invested in a Skylanders game. I was like, dang, we gotta get him back! A shame the level after was a driving segment, but hey, nobody's nerfed. Approaching the final boss, actually, Chaos himself starts having second thoughts about all of this, realizing that he really does want to rule Skylands and not destroy it. But the darkness fights back. He yells at him and threatens him and even kind of blackmails Chaos with, like, taking away his magic to get him to keep going. It's really a push against two villains. Once we reach Chaos, it's final battle time. He gets defeated and the darkness just kind of laughs it off, being the darkness and stuff. He prevents the gang from turning on the secondary backup MacGuffin and tells Chaos to destroy it in one final act of evil gloating. Hi, side note here from someone clearly too obsessed with SuperChargers' story. Did you know the darkness saying, now that's how you handle your minions, is actually a callback to earlier in the game?
You see that, Glumshanks? That is how you handle your minions.
You see that, Glumshanks? Now that's how you handle your minions.
Chaos doesn't do it though. Instead, he helps banish the darkness. Woo! game over. Just kidding, there's a fake credit sequence and one last cool story moment that gets somewhat tarnished by a vehicle segment. Skylands is safe, the biggest threat that loomed across all its games being eliminated, and Chaos not quite being redeemed but being believably begrudging, claiming to be the heroes' evil consultant. Wow, that was a surprisingly epic story. Really trying to give us some actual stakes, making some interpersonal conflicts. Cool. But what about the characters? Well, some of them are cool, like Spitfire, Stormblade, Splat, and some of them are Astro Blast. Ooh, but another sign of the times is half the roster is just old Skylanders revamped. Oops. I mean, they're cool, but, you know, Stealth Elf got a gun now. Terrafin got a gun now. Jetpack got a gun now. He always had a gun, but still. And then there's more plastic. Credit where credit is due, the plastic this time are cool little replicas of vehicles, and having little vehicle models was so cute, but it's still plastic and I don't know. I've never wanted a vehicle. As much as I love the story of this game, I'm kinda notorious for that. After all, my favorite game of all time is Super Paper Mario. Skylanders Nuts and Bolts was a great story stuck in a downward spiral. And with that, Skylanders is over. What a grand send-off. Huh? What do you mean there's another one? The stakes were as high as they could possibly be. The bad guy, he's half redeemed. He's Weird Uncle redeemed. They just kind of ignored that? Oh. Oh no. 2016. The year of the election. The year where Skylanders died. So, you might have already guessed by the title that a big fan demand for people would have been the ability to create your own Skylander. However, this has only been a fan idea for a reason. Okay, I'm going to show you how they make your own Skylander. Are you ready? Boom. Are you noticing anything? Perhaps the fact that it is just plastic. Just an orb cube in plastic. And it's not just like a side gimmick this time, like Trap Team was split between Trap Masters and villains, or like accessories like vehicles. These guys are the gimmick. And they're not even figures. Sure, you can argue the actual figures this time more than make up for it, except no, not really. Not that they're bad or anything, but they have nothing to do with this. They're called senseis, but it has nothing to do with the Imaginators. Though I will admit having a real Golden Queen and Crankcase to see in my house is pretty cool. Not so fond of the idea of letting the little bald man into my house, though. He might steal my stuff. Still, plastic has graduated from the side accessory to the main one. Thus begins the end times. See, us Skylanders fans can debate about the quality of games however much we want, but here's the thing. The thing that controls a series is the consumer base. And the consumer base was bored, tired, and most importantly, broke. Now, forgetting the entire midway where I went insane about SuperChargers for a good chunk, what have you been hearing this entire essay? That's right. Same plot, more or less. The same bad guy finding the same new toy. Now, between you and me, every Skylanders game has its differences. I just spent an entire essay talking about that, but to the public, the answer is clear. The series isn't innovating anymore. And to prove it, I'll give you the laydown of this story. First of all, Flynn and Co. have been almost entirely sidelined, replaced by a lot of the Skylanders from the first game. Hey look, Spyro's finally singled out, what do you know? And not so coincidentally, these characters also star in the Netflix show Skylanders Academy. I have my reasons to believe that the character shift wasn't just for a new change, but to cross-promote the show. I mean, having Skylanders be NPCs makes no sense in a game where I can choose whatever Skylander I want to be. Are these guys just not allowed to be heroes anymore? What if I wanted to be Stealth Elf? Would that be awkward? Would it make the NPC elves head explode? What doesn't help is that this is a far bigger ensemble than we used to, and especially Skylanders is used to juggling, so we kinda just don't really care for them as allies. And what, may you ask, are the villains up to? obviously, having learned nothing from that 5th game, nothing at all, capitalism's favorite little bald man just found a new magic to make evil OCs with, and also a British brain is there. He's my favorite. So, the villain's gimmick is Imaginators, same as the heroes. Dear God. Oh yeah, also Crash Bandicoot was there. Not that it matters in the plot at all, but he was. And also, the end game is that they make Chaos small, and then they stick him in a jar, so he's just canonically in a jar forever now. Also, his final boss is him going Super Saiyan. I'm not joking. There it is. So that is how we end. Not with a surprisingly final story, where a vehicle segment has a wobbly but dignified exit, but a 6th game that tries to bring back a status quo that was about to die in the first place, and a villain in a jar. Hooray! So that brings us to 2021. Skytubers are still on YouTube, ever faithful to their hibernating Toys to Life games. Subreddits sharing memes about how expensive Robo is. Skylanders sections are migrating from game stores to retro stores, and, well, here I am. And here you are, at the end of my video somehow. To be honest, I didn't expect anyone to get here. I mean, most people just see Skylanders as that one cash grab that stole Spyro. And most hardcore Skylander fans probably left because they disagreed with me at some point, because that's just what we Skylander fans do, I guess. But if you are here, then I guess you must be feeling the same way I do every time I revisit the series. On the whole, it may have been a cash grab, sure, and it may not be revolutionary anymore, but there are glimpses of things made by people with a true passion for the art, enjoyed by people who have a passion for it. There's genuine creative ideas in all these levels and these characters that was just kind of left to the waysides. But here's the thing. We're still here. Earth is still full of portal masters, waiting, watching the sky just in case another group of our beloved friends fall down to Earth, and a kindly old man greets us once again with a smile. I don't know if we'll ever get another Skylanders game. To be honest, I'm highly doubtful, but if you're here at the end with all of us portal masters, thank you for giving us a chance. And thank you for helping save Skylands. I'll see you on the other side.